Hey guys, welcome to ThunderSteve85 Gaming. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to the channel, please like this video, share, and subscribe. So without further ado, let's jump in to the preview here of Wrestlequest. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to have some gameplay playing in the background for you guys from the demo that I went through. I thoroughly enjoyed the demo. Very cool. Actually, to be quite honest with you guys, I didn't want the demo to end, which, as we all know, is a very, very good sign. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come as the actual game nears release date. The game was originally supposed to release here in May 2003. The developer actually posted on Twitter stating that the game was going to have a small delay. It's still due out in summer 2023. They said that they couldn't really get into detail as to why, but that it was a good thing, and we'll find out, you know, later on. So anytime there's a delay for something that's going to improve the quality of the game, that's a welcomed addition, right? I mean, how many times are games released and they're not completed? So I was very happy to hear that. Now, to give you guys like a little bit of detail about what this game is about, first off, it's an RPG, and I'm going to read you the actual summary here from the actual website, from Nintendo's website, from Steam. They all got the same description here. So it starts out with Tag Team with Destiny, the ultimate pro wrestling adventure. Powerbomb and pile drive your way through a massive pixel art universe where professional wrestling and RPG fantasy collide. Take a hero's journey, upgrade from aspiring rookie to world champ by training, learning, glamming, and slamming to the top of the pro wrestling food chain. It says draw inspiration from wrestling icons like Macho Man Randy Savage, hence why I'm wearing a shirt today. Jake the Snake Roberts and even Andre the Giant explore worlds based on their lofty careers. Classic RPG combat meets wrestling moves, match styles, and gimmicks galore, which I'll get into in some of the notes that I took a little bit later. Good guys, bad guys, lizards. Yes, we have reptilians in this. Robots and more. Wild realms, exotic monsters, action figure fighters, and spandex allies await as this fantasy goes beyond the ring. Gear up on your way to the top, choose your moves, style, taunts, and even your wrestling entrance as you learn what it takes to be the cream of the crop in the pro wrestling world of your dreams. And so that's the synopsis right now that they have. There's not much more detail out there anywhere. So I'll kind of give you guys some notes, some of the takes that I had. First off, like, this game draws a very large inspiration from Macho Man Randy Savage, which is pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't love Macho Man? Who doesn't want to snap in to a Slim Jim and say, "Oh yeah"? It's about as best as I can do, guys. So the main character in this game is Randy Santos, and he was just pictured right there. That's who you're controlling. And like, as you can see, he definitely looks like Macho Man Randy Savage, which is pretty funny. Right here in this scene, this is actually where you learn the combat, and the combat in this game is really, really cool. So it's going to be your typical like turn-based RPG style combat, but with a little bit more to it. Like, think Super Mario RPG back in the day where you had timed attacks, and then add more to it. Like, it goes deeper than that. You have like timed button inputs, you know, I forget what they're called, like, but the real-time button event, to where when you're fighting somebody, you know, you got to press A as soon as it pops up on screen, and sometimes it's Y or B or X, whatever it may be, for whatever platform you're playing on. Again, I was playing on PC because this is the only way you can actually play the demo right now. I should have mentioned this in the beginning, but this is coming out on PC, Switch, PlayStation, and I believe Xbox. So it's going to be available pretty much everywhere, it seems like, which is good because I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this game. But again, like, you can strike your opponent and then knock him into the ropes if you press the button again that pops up on screen at the right time, like it's shown right now. And they'll go knock into the ropes and you hit them again. So there's a little bit more detail to just like your simple time-based attacks. Like, it goes deeper than that, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's just the start. That's just the normal strike attack. Like, there's more than that. There's taunts in this game. And taunts are pretty cool because, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's a hype meter. And of course, you want to build your hype meter, you know, because as the higher the hype meter gets, the more your attacks are going to be, like the more damage you're going to give, the more special moves you'll be able to do. Just like any RPG turn-based, really, like, you're going to learn different special abilities throughout the game. For instance, Randy Santos here has like I think it's called a south of the border stunner, which is like a Stone Cold stunner, but south of the border style, you know, extra spicy. Pretty funny. So it just says here, taunting's risky, but it can help you build your hype meter. Beware though, if the hype meter dips in your enemy's favor, they'll gain the extra power. So it's pretty interesting how this all works. If you do a taunt and then your opponent hits you when you do the taunt, I think you take an extra 25% damage based on that hit. And it may sound confusing the way I'm explaining it, but it's totally not. And they actually do a very good job in the demo of explaining how it works. And I gotta believe that the demo here is pretty much the introduction to the game. So you'll learn all of this up front, like how to do the moves, all the different attacks. Another cool thing in here, you have managers. So I presume, again, this is just a demo. There's not a lot of details, but that you'll be able to choose different managers throughout the game as you progress in the game. And managers can help build your hype meter as well. And there's an option for it in your battle commands. So really cool so far. There's tag team in this, so you can have other characters. And again, I got to see that in the demo where I teamed up with, and I wasn't even controlling Randy Santos. I was controlling two other guys, because you can do like special tag team moves. But to get back to the hype meter, before I forget about it, the hype meter, guys, if you've played any of the wrestling games on Nintendo 64, be it WCW vs. NWO, World Tour, Revenge, No Mercy, or WrestleMania 2000, then you'll remember the spirit meter. You used to be able to, like, on the N64, you would just rotate the joystick and you would taunt, and that would build your spirit meter, which would help get you closer to your spirit meter saying special. It would say special in the spirit meter. And that's when you could do like your special move. For instance, if you're like Kevin Nash, you know, you can do the power bomb. Or if you're the Undertaker, you could do the tombstone. So really, really cool how they implemented that feature into a turn-based RPG. Because I don't know about you guys, but to me, the wrestling games on 64 were the best wrestling games of all time. Which is kind of sad because it's been so many years, and I just wish we could get a wrestling game like that with modern day technology. But I guess apparently that's a lot to ask for. And you can see here the leveling up, and I'll pause it right here. So a lot of stats here. It doesn't tell you what all these stats are for. We can kind of surmise if we go top down. SPD, we got speed, I believe charisma, power, HP, dodge, attack, STU, stun, I presume, TLN, maybe, I don't know, technique or something, technician, AP, those are your AP points, your ability points, and that's how you use your special moves. ACC, I'm not sure, an INF, I don't know. You guys might have a better guess than I do. But anyways, you're going to see, like you see here, your typical RPG stats, which is really cool to see that. One thing I'll mention too, guys, is like the dialogue in this game is very funny. It's well written. It's clever. It's got a certain kind of humor that I appreciate. You could almost compare it to something like maybe the humor you'd see in Earthbound or the Mario and Luigi RPG series. Not so much Super Mario RPG. That had some decent humor in it, but like the Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga series had some pretty good humor in it, in my opinion. So something more along that lines. But it's pretty funny. Another thing in this game is they have like mic skills, meaning obviously a big part of wrestling, and you'll see it right here. A big part of wrestling is your mic skills and how good you are on the mic. And you get to choose what you want to say, and if you say the right thing, your hype meter will go up or your attack will go up. So that's pretty cool. I think it builds your hype meter. I'm gonna presume, again, because I don't know the ins and outs of it. I only know what I got to see in the demo. But I presume it builds your hype meter before the match, because the mic skills challenge will take place before the match. So you might be able to start off a match with your hype meter fully built, or if you say like all the wrong stuff, maybe your opponent's hype meter starts out at the top. So pretty interesting. Like, they definitely thought of a lot of different things here. One thing to mention is pinning an opponent. Sometimes pinning an opponent in wrestling video games can be like way too complicated, you know, like overcomplicated. It's not at all in this game, which is really refreshing. When they take you through this on like how to do the pin, I was like cautiously optimistic, thinking, well, I hope it's not a chore to pin somebody, but it's not. Basically, you have an arrow that goes left and right with the meter, and you got to stop the arrow in the meter 3 times for the 1, 2, 3 count. If you miss it, they'll kick out. It's really not that hard. It's pretty cool. One thing to note that I thought was pretty cool is if you miss the pin, the opponent, when they kick out, will get some of their health back. And you'll see, here's the pin right here, guys. See? 2. And I missed it. So they got plus 37 HP and I lost 25. So that's pretty cool that basically you can't just keep trying to pin somebody. You have to have them pretty beat up to try and pin them, and you got to make sure that you time your pin correctly, because if you don't, your opponent's going to get some health and you're going to lose some health. So again, I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, think of a scenario where if your health is, say you have 20 HP and your opponent has 0, right? And you go for a pin. I mean, what happens? Again, I don't know, but what happens if you go for the pin and you mess it up? They kick out, they get some health, you lose 25 HP. Now, I mean, do you die? You might die, because now you're at 0. You're actually negative 5 HP, which obviously you guys know HPs don't go into the negative in video games. So again, really interesting how they set up all the battle mechanics. It's not hollow by any means. Pretty fleshed out, to say the least. And like, there's strategy involved in these fights or wrestling matches, whatever you want to call it. Really cool though. As far as like how many fights you're gonna have, I don't know, because it was a demo. There's a world map that you can walk around in, and walking around in the world map, like, I didn't have any random battles. So that's one thing to note. I don't know if that's something that will appear in the main game or if it's just missing from the demo. I'm guessing it's probably not going to be in the main game. I would think that that was something important. And you guys can see here, here's the hype type. So you can choose like what kind of hype you want to get. Basically, you could be an underdog, technician, sidekick, showman. I'm covering one of them up, but one of them's body slammer, basically. And there's pros and cons to the hype type you choose. But one thing that's cool is you can choose a hype type, and if you don't like it, you can just choose a different one at any time. There's no penalty for switching it around. There's no cost for switching it around. And you can see like each hype type has pros and cons to it. One of the pros might be plus 15% attack power. One of the cons might be that you take extra damage by using this one, right? So it's a give and take, just like anything else we see in video games, but it's cool that they added it to this. Now you guys will see here, These are like 2 different characters that I got to control. All of these wrestlers sort of resemble somebody. One thing to note that it says in the trailer and on the website that there's going to be over 30 wrestlers, like 30 real wrestlers, right? Real ones. And there's going to be obviously fantasy wrestlers that they made up, but there's going to be over 30 real wrestlers. For instance, Macho Man, as we know, DDP's in the game, Diamond Dallas Page, Jake the Snake is in the game. I won't say anybody else, but just to give you an idea, like there's a lot of different wrestlers in this game. This guy from here, he doesn't look like it, but when they do his close-up picture, when there's dialogue, he definitely looks like Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, more like the Razor Ramon era. But then he's got the Bret the Hitman Hart glasses, kind of. They all kind of look like wrestlers we knew from growing up, you know, from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. There's a wrestler called Mr. Talent, and he totally looks like and talks like in his dialogue Mr. Perfect. So that's pretty funny. We went over the gimmicks, went over the stats, went over the mic skills, the taunt, the hype meter, timed attacks, dialogue. Again, dialogue's cool. The characters sound really cool. They have a quest. Obviously, again, this is going to follow your normal RPG, like tropes and formula. So there's going to be side quests. There's a quest tracker in it. Here you'll see right now, guys, you can actually create your own intro, which is really cool. And there's, I think you saw it, but there's like 6-7 stages to the intro. And when you come out for the intro, there's timed buttons that you got to press. And by pressing it, your pyrotechnics go off, fireworks, or you do your poses, whatever it may be. I gotta believe that making sure you time all of these correctly will result in like your hype meter being built up prior to entering the match. So that's pretty cool. And here's a really cool piece, guys, that I thought was super interesting. Just like real wrestling. So the dad here, the guy in the middle, he is the manager for his kids here. And they have a match tonight that they have to lose. Because, it's in the script. And he's literally telling them, like, how you have to lose the match. Like, basically, hey, son, like, you're going to do your finishing move. And the other guy, I think that's his brother, but I'm not sure because he's a moose. So I don't know if that's his brother. Like I said, the characters, the dialogue are really funny. And you even see, he's like, man, why do we have to play the jobber all the time? But he says, like, it helps out the family. And, besides, I don't mind losing when it's scripted. But when it comes to real fighting, like, I know I'm a better wrestler, which is really interesting. So you end up fighting these 2 guys here. I think they're like Swedish based on their name. Or maybe like German or something. Definitely European, right? They give like a Hans and Franz kind of vibe. They wear Christmas sweaters. To restore their HP, they drink hot chocolate, like hot cocoa, which is really, again, interesting. Some of the items that I ran into, like there's treasures kind of scattered throughout each area. And like I ran into duct tape that you can use to like restore HP. I don't know if it's supposed to be like actual tape that you put on your arms or whatever, your legs, like taping an ankle. And that gives you extra health, like it repairs you. But I thought that was pretty interesting. You see here right at the end. So what I had to do, the dramatic moments right below my picture here, I had to use the antler bomb on the guy, which is a special move, attempt to pin him, and then let him kick out right at the end. So it says you have to let him get a 2 count and then kick out on the 3rd. So basically I had to purposely miss pinning him on the 3 count. And by doing that, it's basically like, you have your main mission and then you have like your submissions. And if you hit all the submissions, no pun intended, submission, but if you hit the submissions, you get a special item, a special reward, which is what I got. And again, I didn't get to use it because right after this, the demo ends. So like I said, there's definitely a lot to this game. It doesn't feel hollow at all. Just reading through the dialogue, again, it's entertaining. It's entertaining talking to the NPCs. There's a lot of things that they say that are so close to real wrestling. For instance, there is a wrestling company called BEW, and at first, like, I hear BEW, it reminded me of like ECW, right? And sure enough, that's exactly what they're talking about. They just don't use ECW. They call it BEW, and it's Boxwood, which is the county in the game. Extreme Wrestling. And you know, they're using tables, ladders, chairs, spiked bats, basically what ECW was back in the day, which is really cool. Another part about the manager gimmicks is not only can they build your hype meter, but they can do special moves. So the managers kind of reminded me of a summon in Final Fantasy or something like that, where you summon one of your special characters to come into battle. And obviously they cost ability points just like it would in any other RPG. Outside of that, guys, I don't have much more details. I got to see a bit of the world map. I don't know the scale of it. I'm hoping it's a large game, and I only say that because like I actually really enjoyed this, and I didn't want this game to end. So again, I said that in the beginning, I'll say it again. That's a good sign. As you can see, I leveled up. By leveling up here, you're going to gain new abilities. It looks like I gained 2 new abilities here for this guy, the power play of the Jewel Smasher. I didn't get to use them, but again, really cool guys. It's funny, after this match, they talk to each other, the brothers, and then the guys they fight come in and talk crap to them, and they almost get into a real fight. It's pretty interesting. But again, like, the dialogue's entertaining. I wasn't bored by anything in my about hour and a half. So at any rate, guys, this is coming out in summer 2023, so sometime in the next, hopefully, few months. It's coming to Steam, so PC, Switch, PlayStation, I believe Xbox. I don't know any word yet on a physical release, but I'm definitely going to pick this game up. I really enjoyed it. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, please like this video, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.